Ready? Call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. Can we get roll call, please?
Councilmember Bradley.
Here.
He's on Zoom.
Somewhere.
Councilmember Ferraro.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Lewis.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Peristam.
Here.
Mayor Seo.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor. Our next item is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Can we have the finance director this evening lead us in the pledge?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Our next item is the closed session report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, ladies and gentlemen. The City Council met tonight in closed session to discuss labor negotiations with one unrepresented employee, William Winder, on behalf of the law firm of Elshire and Winder. The city attorney and the city attorney's office and the City Council have reached tentative agreement on a revision to the city attorney's employment contract, which will be brought back to a future council for public consideration and formal action. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Our next item are the mayor's announcements.
All right. Good evening, everyone. We have one announcement for today. I have the pleasure of recognizing a business in our city, and that's Golden Cove Pharmacy and Home Healthcare, and we're going to do a certificate of recognition. But before that, I kind of want to explain who they are and just explain why they're on the peninsula. So Golden Cove Pharmacy and Home Healthcare is a locally owned full-service pharmacy providing friendly and quality service to the peninsula. It's located at 31238 Palos Verdes Drive West in the Golden Cove Center of Rancho Palos Verdes. Now, Golden Cove Pharmacy and Home Healthcare has been open for 16 years, serving the community with the highest quality medications available. Now, according to Dr. George Wisa, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Okay, good, thank you. The pharmacy manager, he said, manufacturer determines quality on everything, so we always keep that in mind when we buy a commercially available product for our patients. Now, Golden Cove Pharmacy and Home Healthcare's main focus is compounding. They are specialists in compounding patient-specific medications to meet your particular needs, as well as providing advice and education in regards to your prescriptions and healthcare. Now, along with prescriptions, their drugstore offers vaccinations, medical supplies, vitamins and supplements, pet medications, and more. Since they are the manufacturers of these medications, they only use the highest quality ingredients and make it perfectly in their state-of-the-art lab. They specialize in bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, dermatology, and pet medications. Also, Golden Cove Pharmacy and Home Healthcare offers the highest quality compounds specializing in hormones and dermatology, prompt prescription services, competitive prices. They also accept prescription insurance and free delivery for compound medication. And Dr. Wisa dedicated the majority of his career serving patients in the South Bay, including RPV, PVE, Rolling Hills Estates, San Pedro Torrance, and Redondo Beach. So Golden Cove Pharmacy and Home Healthcare shared that their customers are the foundation to their business, and they are here for you. Now, you're more than just a patient. They'll become a member of your healthcare team. So at this point, if we could have Dr. Wisa come up here, we'll recognize him formally. Let's go. All right. In the middle, you're a guest of honor.
All right, I'm right here.
You get to be in the middle tonight.
So the mic is yours and the floor is yours.
I appreciate everybody. I see some of my long-term patients here. Good to see you guys. So yeah, we focus on compounding where we make medications from scratch. Focus on pet medication, hormone replacement therapy. There is very safe hormone replacement therapy. There has been a lie about hormones for over 30 years. They finally took the lie away about 6 months ago, if you guys heard about that. Yeah, it's a black box warning on the patches saying it causes cancer. Actually, when a woman hits menopause, your estradiol levels, which is E2, starts to go down, and that's an anti-inflammatory, and your estrone levels, which is E1, starts to go up. So taking the medication actually prevents cancer, prevents autoimmune disorders, prevents inflammation, and also we focus, my favorite is pets. We make the tastiest pet medications, so they don't even realize they're taking medication most of the time. And we're here to help everybody. We love helping people in the right way.
All right. Thank you very much. I can't verify that the pet medication tastes tasty, but thank you for being here and thank you for serving our community. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it as well.
Yeah, picture. All right, that concludes my announcements. Thank you very much.
Our next item in is by acclamation to move approval of recycle and emergency personal preparedness kit drawing winners Rose Ann Cordoba and Ton McGivern.
So moved.
Thank you. Our next item then is the approval of the agenda.
May I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilmember Ferraro,
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis,
Yes.
Councilmember Bradley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peristam,
Yes.
Mayor Seo.
Yes.
Motion passes. Our next item then are public comments for non-agenda items, and I do have one, Mr. Dan Myers.
All right. Good evening. How are you?
Is the mic on?
Hold on. Dan, do
Dan,
me a
hold-
favor,
hold
turn
on
on the
one
mic.
second, yes.
You got to turn it on real quick. Hold on. There you go.
Now you hear me?
Yep, got you now.
All right. So this is a non-agenda item about the traffic circles on Avenida Classica. I know this is kind of a little backwards, but we needed to try and get the approval first before we can figure out any other things. On March 2nd of 2026, Councilmember Peristam was in the neighborhood cruising before our March 3rd meeting. And we ran across him because he was the only one going slow, so I definitely took notice of him. So he got out and was talking to Mary Alice, myself, and another neighbor. And he had made mention of putting a pre-warning sign to the traffic circles before the curves, because the signs that were at the traffic circles themselves were literally at the traffic circle. So that's something that I would like to talk about, is putting up a pre-warning sign just saying something, reduce speed, traffic circles ahead, because once you get around that corner, the traffic circle's in your face. And if you have something before the blind curves, letting you know that they're coming would kind of be, a little preventive medicine, I guess you'd say. Other than that, that's pretty much what's going on. I understand that, there's other things, like I had a picture of the exit of Point Vicente where it had flexible delineators and the 6-inch bot dots. I don't know if that's able to be put in for the diverters, because when it gets foggy, bot dots on the ground, you're not going to see them. So that's what's being suggested right now. But like I say, without the traffic circles, the improvements to the traffic circles being improved, this discussion really didn't mean anything until after we figured out whether you guys were going to move forward or if you were going to get rid of it. So understand that's a little backwards. But Unfortunately, that's what I have, and before my time's over. That's
you,
it.
man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next item is the LOMITA Station Report.
Thank you. Captain Grove, good
evening.
evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and residents of RPV. Since our last report on May 5th, I want to share the latest crime stats for the last 2 weeks in RPV since I last reported out. I'm happy to report that there have been 0 homicides in RPV this year. Over the past 2 weeks, there have been 0 rapes reported, 0 robberies reported, and assaults remain low with none reported in the last 2 weeks. There were 3 residential burglaries that were reported and 5 thefts that were reported, and only 1 vehicle reported stolen in the last 2 weeks, and 0 arson cases reported. So far this year, we've had 98 Part 1 crimes reported compared to 144 last year at this time, which is a 32% reduction for RPV. So just to highlight a few cases that I thought you'd like to know about. On April 29th, we responded to a call on Dauntless. It was a burglary prowler call. Thanks to the residents' quick thinking and vigilance, we were able to gather information, put out a PSA, a public service announcement in regards to the person of interest on our social media. And we received an anonymous tip from one of the residents, or I don't know resident, it was just an anonymous tip. And with the surveillance video and the anonymous tip, he was identified by the victim, and there is a warrant pending his arrest. And we're waiting for his, he hasn't been seen around the residence since. So he is from the neighborhood, but he is identified and will be taken into custody soon. So that's a great job done, not just by the community members, but also by our detectives out there working hard. So a couple of the residential burglaries I'd like to talk about. There was one, May 6th, a residential burglary occurred on El Rodeo Road. On the surveillance video, there were 3 adults arriving in a Lexus and entering through the rear living room. Suspects took $40,000 in cash and a Louis Vuitton purse. They cut the camera's power lines, and then the neighborhood coincidentally had a power outage, which made it challenging for us to capture or retrieve any video footage. There was one neighbor that had a battery-powered camera, so hopefully we'll get evidence from that. But again, that's our residents that are aware and keeping their home safe with that security system. So we appreciate that. Between May 15th and May 17th, another residential burglary occurred on Ridge Path Court. And that entry was made through the window, and $20,000 in cash was stolen. I'm sorry, $20,000 in jewelry, cash, and purses were taken. And there was no video on that case, so that's going to be a little bit more challenging for us to solve. We have been proactive, and that's probably a reason why our residential burgs have gone down. In the month of May, we had 3 operations. On May 8th, we had one, Hawthorne and Crest. That was a saturation patrol on our PM shift. Avenida Classica neighborhood, they did a UC operation during the PM hours. And then over here near Hess Park, and then the Western Corridor on PM hours. And again, that's in relation to the residential burglaries that have been occurring. In the last 2 weeks, our community relations team has been busy. They've partnered with Malaga Bank to host a financial crimes workshop at the Penn Library. And they also provided a fraud safety talk via Zoom. They attended a student attendance review board meeting, and yesterday I had the pleasure of joining them to host a town hall meeting at the Peninsula Library. We welcome many residents from the Peninsula cities, RPV, Rolling Hills Estates, and Rolling Hills, and they were eager to engage with us. It was definitely an event that we will be hosting in the near future within the year. So we look forward to these town hall meetings. It's a chance for us to get to know the community, and build that relationship with you. So Again, look out for that, but it was great to talk to the residents and get their input and their issues and concerns in their neighborhoods. So if you haven't attended a town hall, please do so in the future. We'd love to hear from you. On May 16th, we participated in the Memorial Torch Run. Our team received the torch from Carson Station around 2 a.m., and we carried it for 5.8 miles and handed the baton off to Compton Station. Looking ahead, we're excited to participate in the Special Olympics Torch Run on June 1st. Hopefully we see some of you out there. We'll receive the torch from LAPD Harbor at 9 a.m. and carry it to PV Estates starting at Terranea Way and PV Drive South. And then we finish at Paseo Lunado and PV Drive West. So our leg's about 2.8 miles, and we invite you all to join us and support in this inspiring cause. And then last but not least, on May 30th, we'll be participating in the Wildfire Resource Event at the UCLA campus. And that's all I have if there's no questions.
Captain Grow, thank you very much. Just real quick, I know summer break is starting to come up for students and whatnot, and families are going to start taking their summer trips. Can they still call LOMITA Station to do welfare checks on the house if they're out? And just want to make
We
sure. that's still
definitely
good.
encourage that.
Okay.
Absolutely. We still do the vacation checks. We have a list out where the deputies are given on each shift, and they go out and do their patrol checks and document it during their patrols.
Now, just for the public's edification, how does one go about doing that?
So you just call our business line, 310-539-1661, and you just give them the dates that you'll be gone, your address, and we will definitely, the time of day that you wish to have your patrol checks, and we'll definitely conduct those for you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Of course, thank you.
Any other questions? No? Dave, any questions? All right, thank you. Next item, please.
Is the city manager report?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, and our viewing audience. I just want to piggyback on the captain's response. So in addition to doing the vacation checks through the LOMITA station, the city does actually offer the loaner of cameras. So if you need a surveillance camera or an added surveillance camera while you're away, we have a loaner program where you can check one out for a few weeks. In addition, we also have our public safety liaisons in our public safety division. So I think in partnering with the LOMITA station, we can also, our public safety liaisons could do those vacation checks. So I suggest go ahead and continue calling the station, and from there we'll coordinate with our public safety liaisons. So with that said, then I'm going to begin my report this evening. And the first thing I'd like to announce, and I'm really delighted to announce, is that our 2 geologic hazard abatement districts in the city, the Klondike Canyon Landslide Abatement District, as well as the Abalone Cove Landslide Abatement District, were selected for congressional direct spending in the amount of a little over $1.1 million. It totals 2.3. This is the first time in my recollection that any of our geologic hazard abatement districts were recipients of any aid or assistance, financial assistance from the county, state, or federal level. So they were encouraged to apply. I'm glad they did, and they were selected. And a big shout out to our representatives, Congressman Liu, as well as Senator Schiff, who sponsored and moved that along. And 2 weeks ago, the budget bill was approved, and that means they were approved. But it doesn't mean they're going to get a check tomorrow. There's still another process involved. They have to fill out all the applications, the paperwork. There's a lot more involved. But the city's committed to working with the 2 districts to get that process rolling. That money is much needed by the 2 districts. And so they also have applications in for fiscal year 27, but we're still well away from decisions being made for fiscal year 27. So next slide. And if you didn't know, this week is Public Works Week. And so I want to take a moment to recognize and acknowledge all of our great public works staff who do so much for the city in serving our city, especially during times of natural disasters or weather-related events. And so we've got a great video that our team put together. I want to just take a moment here to play that video for the audience's benefit. So I know Anissa's going to cue it. Give us a few seconds.
Look at that.
Welcome to Public Works Week 2026. The theme is Rooted in Service, Powered by Community.
This year's campaign highlights dedication and hard work.
From the men and women who make public works thrive, whether through highly visible projects like roads and parks, to essential infrastructure like water and sewer.
These efforts form the foundation for a thriving community.
Public Works propels innovations that help communities evolve into places of purpose and possibilities.
And reminds us that every project is a connection between service and the people it supports in the city.
And we hope that you've learned more about how Public Works works. And remember, you can always go to our website at rpvca.gov.
Great. Please join me in giving a big round of applause to our Public Works team. It works. They have been, especially the last few years, with everything that we're dealing with the land side, they are our front line and first responders to all that. So thank you, a big thank you. And I want to give a plug also to our RPV TV crew and Megan who do our reels. All of our videos are on social media, these reels, and please like them. If you're not following the city, follow the city, like our videos. They're really entertaining, and they're a great way of getting information on the city. So follow the city on all of the different social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, X, I don't even know, all the YouTube, all those channels out there. Follow us, like us, and just continue supporting your city.
They want to get their likes to 10.
No, we're well past 10. All right, next slide. So I just wanted to bring to the public's attention, tomorrow in the city of Palos Verdes Estates, SCE is undergoing a utility pole replacement project. This project involves helicopter activity because of the canyons. So we're using Grandview Park to stage the helicopter. So residents in that area have been notified, but I just want to emphasize that there will be air activity with a helicopter for those power poles, and there may be intermittent road closures on Monte Malaga. So just if you can avoid the area, please avoid the area, but that's an all-day project. It starts around 8:30 in the morning, and we intend I believe it ends around 5 p.m., and it's a one-day event. I should also add, in a few weeks after tomorrow's event, we will be doing more pole replacements, or SCE will be doing it in the city of Rancho Palos Verdes, and we'll also use Grandview Park as a staging area, but I'll provide that information at the next council meeting. Next slide. And if you didn't know that, but this week the Palos Verdes Peninsula Chamber of Commerce is hosting the annual State of the Peninsula. It's at Terranea this Thursday, May 21st. It begins at 7:30 a.m. I know it's early, but breakfast usually starts around 8 and the program starts around 9, and Mayor Pro Tem Peristan will be speaking on behalf of the city, and he has quite an informative slide deck to give to the community. So we're really encouraged, and if you haven't purchased a ticket, I think you may be able to get any last minute tickets, or you can go to the chamber events, see if they have any extra tickets. And it's always worth hearing what the four cities are doing on the peninsula. Next slide. And of course, this Friday is this month's Coffee with the Mayor. Mayor Seo is going to be at Ladera Linda from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's a great opportunity to have a chat, a casual conversation with the mayor, and tell them how great your city is and how you love our social media platforms. So next slide.
Free mugs.
Is that the carrot? It's free mugs this
Free
time?
mugs.
Okay, not the
The
caps.
mugs have been improved so that the logo doesn't fall off anymore, right?
And as Captain Guerrero said, on Saturday, May 30th, the city is hosting, in partnership with the Council of Homeowners Association as well as UCLA South Bay, the annual RPV Wildfire Resource Expo. This is a great opportunity to get information on wildfire resources, including home hardening tools and techniques, and even products you can purchase. That's Saturday, May 30th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can swing by anytime, and that again is at the UCLA South Bay campus, which is located on Palos Verdes Drive East. Next slide. And I'm doing this every month because I think it's really important for our city, especially as we're trying to keep crime down, is to get involved and stay involved in Neighborhood Watch. If you aren't part of Neighborhood Watch and you want to learn more, or you want to just stay in touch with Neighborhood Watch, you can email our coordinator, which is Gail Lorenzen at rpvnwix@gmail.com. This information's on the city's website. We're also in the process of updating the city's website. We're working with Gail in modernizing and uplifting or doing a facelift to the website and having a lot more digital and electronic ways of joining and getting information. So that's well underway. We really encourage people to get involved and stay involved. Neighborhood Watch is very important. Next slide. And if you are interested in how to influence the programming we offer you on RPV TV, we've got an open survey that is floating right now, and we're asking residents to go online, the city's website, and fill out this 3-minute survey. They're due by June 30th. And what we want to hear from you is what types of programs you'd like to see on RPV TV. So do us a favor and like our social media platforms and go to our website and fill out that questionnaire or that survey. Next slide. And this is exciting. We've got a watch party happening, and because soccer, the World Cup is right around the corner, believe it or not. And so at the Promenade on Friday, June 12th at 6 p.m., there's going to be a large screen set up, and you're encouraged to come out. It's a free event, and they'll bring your team colors and your team jerseys, and just bring the community together to watch the soccer games that are going on. So mark your calendars. That's June 12th.
Team USA.
Is that Team USA is playing that? Okay, very good. I did not know that. Next slide. And of course, Monday, May 25th is Memorial Day, and we take a moment to remember and honor all those who have served our great nation. It's also a reminder that City Hall will be closed, our park sites will be opened, and there's no construction allowed on federal holidays unless you get a special construction permit, which you need to apply for 72 hours before the event or the holidays. So mark your calendars for Memorial Day and make a point to acknowledge and recognize all of those who have served. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Our next item is the consent calendar. I do have one request to speak on item letter H, and late correspondence was distributed earlier on item letter K.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar minus H, please? Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Councilmember Lewis,
Yes.
Councilmember Bradley,
Yes.
Councilmember Ferraro,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peristam,
Yes.
Mayor Seo.
Yes.
Motion passes. With that, we'll move to item letter H. And our speaker is via Zoom, Ava Albuja. And it'll just take us a second.
Hi, Terry. Unfortunately, Ava has not signed on to Zoom.
Mayor, if it's the pleasure of the council, we'll move on, and then if she signs on, we can go back.
Yeah, that works. Let's move.
Thank you. Our next item then is under regular business. Or forgive me, Mayor, we'll actually have to, how would you like to do this? Would you like to hold off on approving letter H or go?
Yeah, we'll hold off on it and just move into public hearings. And
Okay. Our item is item number 1, consider an appeal of the Planning Commission's decision conditionally approving a height variation and site plan review at 7355 Berry Hill Drive. Late correspondence was distributed earlier. Notice of the public hearing was duly published, and I currently have the appellants and the applicants and 2 other speakers.
got it. Thank you very much. I'm going to declare this public hearing open at this point, and can we have a staff report?
Yes, I'd like to introduce Jeffrey Kim, Associate Planner. He'll be giving the presentation.
Hey, Jeff.
Good evening, council members. My name is Jeffrey Kim, and tonight I'll be presenting on the appeal of the Planning Commission's decision of the Director of Community Development's conditional approval of a height variation permit and site plan review application for the property located at 7355 Berry Hill Drive. By way of background, the project site is a 10,415 square foot pad lot located on the north side of Berry Hill Drive. It is currently improved with an existing 2,467 square foot single-story residence with the garage included. The zoning for the site is single-family residential RS4, and the surrounding land uses to the north, west, south, and east all include single-family residential. The appellants, Brent Meyer and Nancy Parsons, are located directly adjacent to the subject property along the western property line as highlighted in yellow. The appellant's property is approximately 3 feet lower in elevation than the applicant's building pad and is also located within the RS4 single-family residential zoning district. To now go over a brief background of the project history, on October 16th, 2025, the Director of Community Development conditionally approved the requested height variation permit and site plan review. On October 30th, 2025, the formal appeal request of the Director's decision was filed and payment was confirmed. On January 27th, 2026, the Planning Commission held a duly noticed public hearing in which both the applicant and the appellants were given opportunities to speak. After consideration of public testimony, the Planning Commission conditionally approved the proposed application, thereby denying the appeal request, which included 2 new conditions of approval for the applicant to make adjustments to their final plans. The resolution was passed on a vote of 5-1, with the dissenting vote being Commissioner David Chura, who is also in attendance for tonight's hearing and will be available for any questions that you may have for the commission. Following the Planning Commission hearing on February 11th, 2026, staff had received the updated final plan set from the applicants as directed and conditioned by the Planning Commission. On that same day, a timely appeal of the Planning Commission's decision was filed by the appellants, Brent Meyer and Nancy Parsons, at 7361 Berry Hill Drive. The appellants thereafter submitted multiple revised appeal letters as an addendum to the original appeal letter, which has all been included in staff's final report. On October 30th, 2026, a public notice, on April 30th, 2026, a public notice of this appeal was published in the Palos Verdes Peninsula News and mailed to all property owners within a 500-foot radius from the project site. Finally, on May 5th, 2026, city staff received the final version of the project plans, which has been included in staff's report for the City Council's consideration. And as such, the project proposal before you tonight is to construct a 720 square foot second story addition to an existing 2,467 square foot single story residence for a new total structure size of 3,187 square feet, along with ancillary site improvements, including a 263 square foot roof deck, new skylights, and a new cupola on the proposed roof at the project address of 7355 Berry Hill Drive. This slide highlights the location of the 2 major components of the project request, which includes the second story addition, which is highlighted in orange, and the proposed roof deck, which is highlighted in green. This slide showcases the proposed floor plans for both the first story on the left and the second story on the right, which again highlights the second story floor area in orange and the proposed roof deck in green. The existing residence maintains a legal non-conforming maximum building height of 19.9 feet tall from the point where the highest foundation meets the finished grade to the highest existing roof ridge line. With the approval of this height variation permit, the building height will be increased to 21 feet from the point where the highest existing foundation meets the finished grade to the highest roof ridge line, and 21.75 feet from the point where the lowest foundation or slab meets the finished grade to the highest roof ridge line, which staff does find to be consistent with other existing 2-story residences in the immediate neighborhood. Additionally, this project includes the ancillary improvement of a cupola on the roof, which will extend 4.25 feet above the highest roof ridge line, which is still under the maximum 26 feet allowed with a height variation permit. In accordance with the review of a height variation application, a review of neighborhood compatibility of the proposed project is required pursuant to RPV MC section 1702.030, subsection B3. The neighborhood character is reviewed in terms of development standards, which include lot coverage, structure size, architectural styles and materials, and setbacks. With this project request, the existing lot coverage of 33% will be maintained, as the second-story addition will primarily be above the existing building footprint and portions of the paved side yard. This would continue to be below the 50% maximum for lots which are zoned RS4, and is also within similar percentages observed with other residences in the area. In regard to structure size, the subject residence will become the fourth largest in the neighborhood at 3,187 square feet. Staff finds that this project, in terms of structure size, will continue to be compatible with the immediate neighborhood, as it is built to a similar scale as homes in the area. Additionally, a portion of the proposed project includes design choices that are consistent with other homes in the area. For example, the second-story addition is partially sided over the existing attached garage, which is a feature found among other homes in the neighborhood. 7369 and 7333 Berry Hill Drive are homes within the general neighborhood and also maintain second-story additions over their garage. Additionally, multiple other residences in the general neighborhood also maintain the same design, such as the properties at 7315 and 7303 Berry Hill Drive. The proposed architectural style materials will also be consistent with the immediate neighborhood and existing residents, as the proposed exterior finishes include wood siding and a shingle hip roof. The minimum setback distances will be maintained with this project request, as only the west side yard setback will be reduced by approximately 1.58 feet to a total of 5.42 feet from the westerly property line, which again is consistent across the area. Based on staff's evaluation and as outlined in staff's report, the proposed project will be consistent with the immediate neighborhood, and neighborhood compatibility will be met. In accordance with the review of a height variation application, a review of potential view impacts and privacy is also required. As shown with the green arrows, the topography in the area slopes downward from north to south along rear yards and from east to west along Berry Hill Drive. Based on aerial analysis and multiple site visits, staff has confirmed that views in the area are primarily oriented to the south and west, consisting of views of the ocean, shoreline bluffs, and Catalina Island. Properties located to the west of the subject property observe their views to the west and southwest, which would be in the opposite direction of the project site. The properties located to the north of the subject property are located about 30 feet higher in elevation than the subject property, whereby they continue to maintain their southerly views over the proposed project. Properties located to the east of the subject property do not maintain any views of protected viewing areas that are not already impacted by the 16-foot by 20-foot by right building height envelope of existing homes in the area. The image on this slide to the right shows views from the second story of one of these residences at 7315 Berry Hill Drive to give an idea of general views in the area. Finally, properties located to the south of the subject property observe their views in the opposite direction of the subject property as well. As such, staff does not find that there are any significant view impairments caused by this project request. In regards to privacy, the design of the proposed project includes window placements along the north, south, east, and west facades, as highlighted with red arrows. Additionally, this slide highlights the location of the proposed front-facing roof deck and potential directional views, highlighted with green arrows. The southern elevation of the proposed project consists of the newly proposed roof deck, as well as a sliding glass door from the newly proposed second floor area. Views from this area primarily consist of closer views, such as the public right-of-way on Berry Hill Drive, as well as front yards of the adjacent properties where there is no expectation of privacy. It also observes far views towards the south and west of the ocean and Catalina Island. The northern facade consists of two newly proposed windows from the second floor area. One window is located from the proposed bathroom and maintains a windowsill height of 5 feet 1 inch, which can be considered a high window. The applicant has also proposed to obscure the portions of the glass which are located below 6 feet to further help limit views of the adjacent neighbor. Additionally, there is another new window located within the newly proposed bedroom area with a sill height of 3 feet due to fire safety ingress and egress requirements. The applicant has proposed to install a 6 foot by 6 foot obscured glass shield to also help further limit views of the adjacent neighbor's rear yard, as highlighted in yellow. The adjacent property located directly to the north has a building pad elevation approximately 20 feet higher than the subject property, where views from these windows cannot observe the adjacent property. The eastern facade of the proposed project is designed with several windows with varying windowsill heights and the front-facing roof deck. However, views along this facade primarily consist of the subject property's driveway and adjacent property's entryway, which there is no expectation of privacy. Finally, the western facade is proposed to include 2 new sets of high windows with windowsill heights of 5 feet 1 inch, as well as the front-facing roof deck. At this time, I would like to highlight that within the Planning Commission's conditional approval of this project request, they included 2 new conditions of approval. Condition number 35 of the PC resolution number 2026-02 requires that all west-facing windows on the second story shall be maintained as opaque for the areas of the window which are below 6 feet, or to raise the windowsill height to a minimum of 6 feet. As such, the applicant's updated May 6, 2026 plan set had redesigned the project to utilize opaque windows for all areas below 6 feet. Based on staff's assessment, this would effectively eliminate all potential near views of the adjacent property from these windows. Condition number 36 requires the installation of foliage along the western side yard property line to help mitigate privacy impacts on the appellant's courtyard and bedroom areas. The applicant revised their project plans to now include 3 box Italian cypress trees between the appellant and applicant's properties to help mitigate any further view impacts from the proposed roof deck facing the appellant. While the installation of foliage in this manner may help mitigate potential privacy impacts, it could result in code enforcement issues in the future. For example, it could become overgrown and cause view issues. It could die off or not fill in and therefore not meet the requirement. Or a future property owner could remove it, not knowing there is a condition of approval to maintain the foliage. In these potential scenarios, it would require code enforcement staff's time to bring it back into compliance. Despite the newly imposed foliage conditions and updated plans, staff believes that the proposed roof deck would not result in an unreasonable infringement of privacy on the adjacent neighbor. Based on staff's assessment, views from this roof deck are primarily oriented away from the appellant's property, observing far views of the ocean to the south. And when looking westward, views will primarily consist of the roof areas of the appellant's residence. Furthermore, privacy of interior spaces like bedrooms can be mitigated via the use of curtains or blinds, which is also supported by the City of Rancho Palos Verdes' height variation permit guidelines. Additionally, views of the westerly adjacent property's western front-facing bedroom area and portions of the courtyard can already be observed from the public right-of-way along Berry Hill Drive, where there's no expectation of privacy, which staff will highlight later in this presentation. And for the aforementioned reasons, staff believes that the proposed project does not result in an unreasonable infringement of privacy. So as mentioned earlier in this presentation, the project was formally appealed by the appellants located at 7361 Berry Hill Drive. Within that formal appeal were multiple letters from the appellants detailing the specific reasons and basis of their appeal. Among the reasons listed, there are 2 main appeal points, which staff will go over in the following slides. The first appeal point is that the project is not consistent with the City of Rancho Palos Verdes' neighborhood compatibility guidelines as outlined in the Neighborhood Compatibility Handbook. The appellants claim that the incorporation of the new roof deck and second-story addition running lengthwise along the shared property line is inconsistent with the established development patterns in the neighborhood. They also purport that the project rises significantly above their single-story home, wedges them between multiple 2-story residences, and creates a massing condition that dominates their side yard and reduces perceived setbacks. The appellants state that the proposed roof deck does not meet neighborhood compatibility because it far exceeds the size of any other decks in the neighborhood. According to staff's analysis, and as highlighted in previous reports, staff has found that there are other 2-story residences in the immediate neighborhood and additional properties in the general neighborhood that have front-facing roof decks and front-facing balconies, such as the 2 properties referenced on this slide. These properties were highlighted to demonstrate that while the proposed roof deck is larger than others in the area, it is a design feature that has been established within the neighborhood. And despite the proposed roof deck being the largest in the immediate neighborhood, its design and size will also help minimize and address the sense of bulk and mass of the second-story addition as seen from the public right-of-way on Berry Hill Drive, as the roof deck will help set the addition further back from the front property line. The appellants also contend that the proposed project does not meet neighbor compatibility because it is sited lengthwise along the western portion of the existing residence. Staff's analysis of other two-story homes in the immediate neighborhood, such as 7369, 7333 Berry Hill Drive, found that this is a common design feature in which the two-story portion of the residence is sited over the length of a portion of the lower level below. Additionally, the heights of these other two-story residences are also consistent with the proposed project. In regard to the proposed project setbacks with this permit request, all existing setbacks will be maintained except the westerly side yard setback between the side yard of the appellant and the applicant. While the proposed addition will be reducing the existing westerly side yard setback by 1.58 feet, this new setback distance is still greater than the minimum required setback of 5 feet, and it is consistent with other two-story properties in the immediate neighborhood and properties outside of the closest 20 residences. According to aerial imagery from the city's GIS map, another two-story residence in the immediate neighborhood at 7333 Berry Hill Drive maintains setbacks that are approximately 5 feet from the western property line. And according to city permit records, two-story residences located in the neighborhood at 7309 and 7303 Berry Hill Drive maintain setbacks that are approximately 5 feet from the westerly property lines and have their second-story additions sited lengthwise along the residence as well. While the second-story addition proposes an approximately 4-foot cantilevering portion over the western portion of the residence, the design maintains a 5-foot by 5-foot-5-inch setback to the western property line and is further set back approximately 15 feet and 4 inches between the eastern facade of the appellant's residence and proposed second-story addition. Additionally, this cantilevering portion maintains lines of development with the existing direct access garage of the project residence, whereby it minimizes views of the second-story cantilevering portions from the front. The appellants then claim that the proposed project will not be consistent with the development patterns in the area, as it will result in the appellant's property being sited between two properties improved with two-story residences. Staff believes that this development pattern will continue to be compatible with the immediate neighborhood because the proposed second-story addition is designed to maintain the existing rhythm of the streetscape. Additionally, other residences in the immediate neighborhood are also sited between existing two-story residences, such as 7309 Berry Hill Drive, which is highlighted in red. As part of a review for neighborhood compatibility, staff does not evaluate the specific sequencing of single-story and two-story residences, but rather conducts the analysis on the broader immediate neighborhood, which typically consists of the 20 closest homes at minimum. Therefore, based on the discussion provided, staff does find that the proposed project does meet the standards of neighborhood compatibility and recommends the City Council reject this appeal point. The second appeal point is that the project creates substantial privacy impacts from the proposed roof deck and second-story windows, which provide direct views into the appellant's courtyard, rear yard, and bedroom areas. The appellants contend that the deck size, orientation, and second-story windows designs fail to mitigate privacy impacts or the Planning Commission's privacy conditions, and that vegetation screening is not a reliable or enforceable mitigation measure. They further assert that the Planning Commission's approval of the project also relied on incorrect assumptions that structural elements would block these views. The appellants contend that the proposed roof deck located at the front of the project residence will result in significant privacy impacts to the interior and exterior spaces of their property. And as previously mentioned, staff believes that the proposed roof deck will not result in unreasonable infringement of privacy, as views from the roof deck are primarily oriented away from the appellant's property, observing far views of the ocean to the southwest. And when looking westward, views consist of roof areas of the appellant's residence, as demonstrated on the image on the left. As previously stated, privacy of interior spaces like the front-facing bedrooms can be mitigated via the use of curtains or blinds, which is also supported in the City of Rancho Palos Verdes' height variation permit guidelines. Additionally, as previously mentioned, views of the appellant's western front-facing bedroom area and portions of the courtyard, as noted in the appellant's letter, can already be observed from the public right-of-way along Berry Hill Drive, where there isn't an expectation of privacy since this area can be observed from public streets. Additionally, the appellant's letter states that they maintain concerns regarding the maintenance of the proposed foliage and its effectiveness to block views. As previously mentioned, this condition was established by the Planning Commission to help address privacy concerns as observed from the roof deck when looking backwards towards the appellant's courtyard. However, maintenance of said foliage per this condition may be difficult, as staff had clarified earlier. And the appellant also contends that staff had provided false information that the facade of the second-story addition would block a large portion of views from the roof deck of the appellant's property, or of the applicant's property. However, as noted on the updated floor plan on this slide, a large majority of the proposed roof deck will not be able to maintain significant views of the appellant's residence and courtyard area, as the second-story proposed walls, as highlighted in yellow, will limit those views towards the appellant's residence. And as such, staff believes that the design and style of the proposed roof deck does not create an unreasonable infringement of privacy. The appellants also contend that the proposed second-story windows and obscuring of portions of the windows below 6 feet may not be a fully effective privacy mitigation measure. As also previously mentioned, the proposed second-story addition is designed with a series of windows that have sill heights of 5 feet 1 inch, as measured from the finished floor. Based on staff's assessment, the height of the proposed second-story windows along the western elevation will afford limited views of the exterior areas of the appellant's property, such as existing roof areas between the appellant's residence and detached garage. The image on this slide shows a photo taken from staff at the approximate height of the windowsill along the western facade, and views from the approximate location and height of the proposed second-story windows in the direction of the appellant's property primarily consist of the roof and partial views of the courtyard. Standing at points further back within the proposed second-story addition would yield views that are even less significant than what is shown in this photo. However, as noted earlier, the applicant has proposed to obscure those portions of the window which are below 6 feet to help further limit views of the appellant's property. Furthermore, this image on this slide, taken from the applicant's westerly side yard, illustrates that limited views of the appellant's courtyard are already currently observed along the westerly side yard ground floor of the project site. With that being said, while the appellants noted in their February 27, 2026 addendum letter that the installation of the obscured glass shield and opaque windows below 6 feet are a good compromise for portions of their concern, they maintain general concerns about privacy due to the proposed project. Staff does find that the proposed project and adjustments made by the applicant do not create an unreasonable infringement of privacy, and based on the discussion above, staff recommends that the City Council reject the appellant's appeal point regarding privacy impacts. And finally, the following slides include the remaining 2 appeal points, which are not specifically referenced in staff's interpretation of required application findings within the appellant's letter. The first miscellaneous appeal point is that the appellant's public input was not properly handled during the review process, stating that any detailed early comment letter was lost, misfiled, or disregarded, which they believe resulted in their feedback not being meaningfully considered throughout the project review. They assert this created a prolonged imbalance in how their objections were incorporated into the record compared to the applicant's materials. They further argue this contributed to a perception that their comments were not given equal weight during the proceedings. As previously highlighted in the January 27, 2026 staff report for the Planning Commission, the appellants informed staff that they submitted a public comment letter dated August 30th, 2024 for this project to the Community Development Department on September 3rd, 2024. The submittal of this letter was approximately 3 months prior to the applicant's formal filing of the project plans and application materials to this Community Development Department on November 27th, 2024. As such, there was no formal case file for the public comment letter to be filed for a project that had not been yet submitted for processing. While staff could not locate the appellant's August 30th letter, staff received a copy of the letter from the appellants and included it in the project case file on May 7th, 2025. The letter and comments expressed were analyzed and included in staff's report for the director's decision on October 16th, 2025. And ultimately, the initial public comment letter being referenced was submitted to city staff and incorporated into the case file prior to the formal opening of the public comment period for the project. The last miscellaneous appeal point is that the appellant states they were not afforded a fair opportunity to respond during the Planning Commission hearing when the public hearing was reopened for the applicant, but not them. They contend this limited their ability to clarify privacy and compatibility concerns after hearing new information presented by the applicant. They argue this constrained their participation in the decision-making process. However, pursuant to PC Resolution number 2011-25, Section 2.2 and 2.6 outlines the general procedures and guidelines for the speaking limits for both the applicant and appellant. As stated, the applicant and appellant are limited to 5 minutes presentation and a 3-minute rebuttal each. And at the January 27, 2026 public hearing, both the appellant and applicant were given the proper amount of time for public comment. Additionally, Section 2.6 states that the chairperson at their discretion may allocate a specific amount of additional time to each side at their discretion. The chairman, at his discretion, had allocated additional speaking time limits to allow further public comments for the applicant to assist the Planning Commission's deliberation within the bounds of the referenced PC resolution. Therefore, staff recommends that the City Council adopt the resolution, thereby upholding the Planning Commission's decision and denying the appeal, and conditionally approving a height variation permit and site plan review, allowing the construction of a 720 square foot second-story addition to the existing 2,467 square foot single-story residence for a new total structure size of 3,187 square feet, along with ancillary site improvements, including a 263 square foot roof deck at 7355 Berry Hill Drive. This will conclude staff's presentation. Staff will be available for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions from City Council? No? I do. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Nice job, Jeffrey. I visited the site, and I can appreciate the work that went into this staff report. It was very thorough. My one question is, how did the foliage assessment get included into this broader position on the appeal? Because in reading the staff report, I didn't see that there was any public communication requesting that of a few impact, but yet, and in fact, you haven't even addressed it in your presentation. So where'd that come from? Thank you.
Councilman, the view analysis was conducted by the city's View Restoration and Preservation Division, to which they found that they required the removal of certain foliage on the subject property. From staff's understanding of that analysis, the property owner has confirmed that they are, okay with the removal of those trees. Additionally, the staff had visited multiple properties and conducted its analysis along Berry Hill Drive, in which 2 other property owners had noted they are supportive of the project request, so long as the trimming condition or removal of the trees was met. At the specific Planning Commission hearing, the foliage condition itself was not brought up in discussion.
Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Bradley, any questions?
No, just that I did visit the property on or about the same time as Mayor Pro Tem was there, though I did not see him, but I did see the truck.
All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, if there are no more questions, we can move on to public. Sorry, Councilmember Lewis.
I know the answer to my question lies within all these materials if I go through it in great detail, but maybe you can just summarize for me. So the applicants are petitioning to build this add-on to their house, this renovation, and is it variance with the 16-foot code. So if I read it right, because there's 2 different ranges, there's at the lowest slope and the highest slope. What is the amount of variance that is being granted? Is it 5 feet or 4 feet or 3 feet, or what is actually being granted here that's outside of the normal scope?
Councilman, the by right building height essentially is 16 feet for pad lots with this project request, they are proposing to raise that building height to 21 feet from that highest point and 21.7 feet from the lowest point where the grade meets the ground. So beyond the 16-foot by right height limit, it's about
5 to 6 feet.
Correct.
Okay. So of the concerns cited by the petitioners, were this construction done and it were 5 feet, give or take, smaller, so there'd be no question it's 100% within code, how many of their objections would nonetheless still apply? Like, there'd still be sight lines to certain parts of their backyard and so on, correct or not correct?
If the development was within what the code allows, then it wouldn't require the height variation. It wouldn't
I
require
understand
the
that.
neighborhood compatibility or the.
I understand. I guess the question I'm asking is, are a lot of the issues that the petitioners have would exist anyway, even if no variance was granted? In other words, there would still be sight lines to some of these places that they're complaining about or not.
There are sight lines to some of the areas from that first level of where the existing house is. And I think you had that in one of the images. So they're already, this was the example or that comparison of, this is from the applicant's yard currently, looking towards the appellant's courtyard. So there is that partial view there. And then what we're looking at and evaluating is from that second level. Okay. And the difference, is there an increased and significant impact to their privacy?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay, let's move on to public testimony then, please.
How many speakers do we have?
I'll be calling the appellants first. I have Brent Meyer and Nancy Parsons.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm okay. Before I start with what I was going to say, there are a few changes that seem to be in Mr. Kim's report that we were not aware of and have been not made aware of, but we'll cover those a little bit later. I'm Brent Meyer. I'm the co-appellant with Nancy Parsons, and we've kind of reduced this speech because of time constraints. In our opinion, the purpose of this appeal was quite simple. We've asked City Council to reject the application until the plans are submitted to meet the city codes and guidelines. Our appeal is not about processing or protecting newly created privacy rights arising from the application. The existing privacy of our courtyard was confirmed by city planning commissioners at the January 26th meeting, stating that it was protected. We also have windows that are, in our estimation, privacy positions, but they were not ruled as protected. This resolution targets to shelter our rights and demonstrates the proposed addition infringes upon our privacy with heavy emphasis on the entertainment deck. One thing we can say is had the applicants addressed the deck and wall dominance issues later to be discussed, this appeal may not have been necessary. By conditionally approving the application, both Planning Commission, both Planning and the Commission have prioritized the applicant's wants and needs over our rights, and we have not waived those rights. City Planning has distorted the facts. They have been careless with documentation, despite their reasoning and calculating with their presentations. In our opinion, they seem to have lost the plot that the codes and guidelines are established for all citizens, and they have a fiduciary responsibility to uphold them. The Planning Commission decision substantiated our claims about a multiple privacy invasions, yet the Commission's decision does not comply with the city existing municipal codes regarding privacy on decks, specifically Ordinance 355, Section 7, Part D, roof decks, item 3.1. That states, quote, "The following standards shall apply to all permitted roof decks. A roof deck shall not create an infringement of privacy as defined by the height variance findings discussed in section 170204C1E1X. Per this section, the following findings must be met. The proposed new structure that is above 16 feet in height or addition to the existing structure that is above 16 feet in height does not result in unreasonable infringement upon privacy of the occupants abutting the residences. Further, section 1702.040A11 clearly states shall is mandatory and may is permissive. May I have the first slide, please? This is a proposed deck provides an unobstructed view, not a selected view, but an unobstructed view into a protected courtyard plus 2 are of our ocean bedrooms or ocean view bedrooms. This is an artist rendering that we had done from the photos that we took on the staking and also the applicant's design plans. This is noted as Exhibit A. When the applicant's home required restaking on April 28th after being damaged 2 months prior in a windstorm, we took additional photos. Exhibit E, next one, please. And F, next, please. And these are the workers standing on top of the roof at the design area or designated area where this roof deck would be. And they do look, and the photos were taken from the courtyard. Planning station, the large portion of the views of the property at 7361 Berry Hill, I'm sorry, I quote, from the proposed roof deck area will be blocked by the proposed second-story facade of the project residence, unquote. This is an inaccurate statement as the deck and the second story share the same continuous front to rear wall line profile. If we can go back to the next one, please. And so there's no blockage there. The proposed oversized deck of 12'6" by 21 feet wide entertainment deck exceeds any other in the neighborhood by over 160%. Planning cited an example of our western neighbor of an estimated 100 square foot, 4-foot by 25-foot porch at 7369 Berry Hill. Their report stated it is a design feature established in the neighborhood. This is again misleading. There are no such 263-foot square decks in Berry Hill or Via Cambron. The largest is approximately 150, and it doesn't look into anybody's house or it looks over top of a garage. The project does not comply with the neighborhood compatibility handbook guidelines. Our second story, as stated previously, the second story would be wedged between 2 existing homes at 7369, 2-story, built before we bought the home, and the new addition. There are no 2-story homes with 1-story homes in between them in Berry Hill or Via Cambron. There are none. Introducing this precedent would be dangerous in the essence of the community. The addition to us looks a little more historically appropriate to Redondo Beach and the other beach cities. The proposed project runs lengthwise along our shared property, dividing by less than roughly 10 feet and moving closer on the second story. This dominates approximately 28 feet above our property and is in opposition to the guidelines on page 26, which states a new structure or addition to an existing structure should be designed in a manner that does not dominate the side or rear yards of the lot, as well as aspects of the side and rear yard setbacks to the neighboring properties, unquote. On February 2nd, following the Planning Commission's resolution, we proactively offered a compromise options, even though they conflicted with the city codes. Our input was not sought. None of our input has ever been sought from the applicants, or and the commission did not allow us to speak at the second opening of the hearing, our hearing. There was no time limit, as Mr. Kim seems to allude. There was no time limit stated that they had a certain amount of time, we had a certain amount of time, other than the initial ones. As a direct result of our February 2nd suggestions, updated plans were submitted to, and these are the last ones we saw, to planning on February 11th, reviewed and made an additional commented letter back to the commissioners and the planning. The commission was and we were advocating moving the windows higher to 6 feet, installing translucent glass. Unfortunately, commission called it opaque glass, which is not correct, and limiting the opening angle. To protect the backyard privacy from the proposed bedroom and bathroom windows, we, not the commission, suggested either extending 2 vertical walls and installing translucent glass shields limiting the openings. After we sent this letter, roughly 9 days later, the plans were updated and the west-facing windows were reoriented to open sideways at the southeast rather than up facing north, or I'm sorry, facing west, but no angles were noted. So it's unknown if these angles actually are functional to address the privacy. The sill height is still 5'1", and only at that time it says only the lower panes in the drawings were marked as being obscured. The upper were clear. They're at eye level. I'm not sure from Mr. Kim's report tonight whether that's been changed or not. The bathroom window is now marked as obscured. The rear bedroom window is still clear, but they put a 6-foot wall extension utilizing obscure glass shield. Our letter also addressed the commission's use of the foliage to block the view. We have never seen the drawing, the renderings set up tonight by planning. We've asked 2 or 3 times, have these been submitted, and they had nothing. So this is new to us tonight. There is an existing hedge dividing the property that limits the direct view into the protected courtyard from the appellant's first floor. However, it does nothing to impair the view on the second floor. Slide 5, please, again. We're going to go back to this one. We offered some suggestions. I'm going to have to cut this short, it looks like. They haven't maintained their foliage, this one, yeah. They haven't maintained their foliage over the years. And after we did the appeal, they came back in and cleaned everything up, cut the trees back, but it has not been something that they've maintained. We offered some suggestions to move the deck to the east, another one to shorten the deck in all.
Mr. Meyer, can you just finish that thought?
I have about a minute, if that's okay.
You have another opportunity as a rebuttal. So if you want to save it for
2
then.
paragraphs. May I finish them, please?
Sure.
Okay. Should the deck be resigned, stake and flag would probably be necessary. Since the deck is not performs to code the violations of the neighborhood guidelines we have been met, we formally request the city deny the application to avoid unnecessary further action. I'm sorry about that, little timeline.
That's it?
Okay.
Okay,
That's
thank
it.
you. Appreciate it. Can we have a,
Next speaker.
well, actually, let's take, we have a speaker in favor of the appellant, correct? David, Mr. Chura.
The process is then the applicant gets 10 minutes to speak.
I understand that, but we have a speaker, right? Are we going to take the speaker in behind them? Okay.
I think
We'll
it's
do
the
that.
other.
Yeah,
We'll
that
let the,
sounds-
we'll let the appealing party and the applicant speak first, and then you can take for and against public comment
That'll
after
work.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, we need.
Put 10 minutes on the clock for, who's going to be speaking? Is it Carol?
Are Carol Francis and Hani Francis?
Yes.
Hello, Carol, how are you?
Hi. Good evening. My name is Carol Francis, and I'm here with my husband, Henny, and our architect, Mrs. Neverett Gergis. My family and I have lived on Berry Hill Drive for 17 years, where we raised our son and built our lives in this community. I would like to direct the council's attention to the slide, which will aid in visualizing the architectural changes that I will discuss. The left side of the slide shows the initial plans presented at the neighborhood meeting, while the right shows our current proposal. I will spare you the multiple iterations in between. At the onset of the project, we prioritized Rancho Palos Verdes core values, preserving views and neighborhood characters. By matching the existing roofline height, we minimized the bulk and protected neighboring views. I would like to briefly walk the council through the steps we did to address concerns raised by the appellants and to comply with every request made by the city. Beginning in August 2024, at the neighborhood meeting, the appellants raised privacy concerns. In response, we immediately redesigned our project to protect both our neighbors' privacies and our property rights. The changes we made included privacy mitigation. We completely removed the original west-facing balcony and west-facing sliding glass door. Reorientation. Bathroom windows were reoriented to face north and south to eliminate direct sight lines towards the neighboring property. After submitting revised plans in November 2024, the project underwent the city's extensive review process. Mr. Kim conducted multiple site visits, performed photo analysis, and prepared a thorough report. We also made additional modifications at the request of the planning department, including privacy mitigation. We eliminated all standard west-facing windows, replacing them with clear story windows with sills raised above 5 feet. Mass and view preservation. We removed the deck pergola to reduce the project's mass and further protect view corridors. Landscaping compliance. We agreed to remove 4 queen palms to satisfy specific city conditions. On October 16, 2025, the Director of Community Service approved the project. The following day, on October 17th, applicants filed an appeal letter to the Planning Commission. On January 27th, the Planning Commission held the duly noted meeting requested by the appellant. There was significant conversation about privacy, size, and discussion of changes. Ultimately, the appeal was denied, and the director's conditional approval included the following added conditions. Along the west-facing windows of the second story, the glass was frosted up to 6 feet. To mitigate privacy from the roof deck, install foliage along the western side yard to be approved by the director. Despite our compliance and changes, the appellant continues to object about privacy as it relates to the deck. I would like to clarify a few points for the record. First, the proposed deck is intended as a quiet outdoor space for our family, not as an entertainment venue. Our primary gathering area has always been and will remain our backyard, which already contains a pool, barbecue, and direct kitchen access. Second, the concerns regarding excessive gathering are entirely speculative. In fact, through all of 2025, we hosted only 1 gathering at our home. Third, the deck's actual orientation prevents direct views into the appellant's bedroom or courtyard. It parallels the lower portion of the garage, so any intrusive overlook is simply not created or desired. Finally, the argument that the project would create some broader neighborhood precedent is not supported by how land use decisions are made in Rancho Palos Verdes. There is no data to suggest that approving a code-compliant deck on one lot leads to an explosion of similar constructions or changing in neighborhood character. We have made substantial design revisions to resolve all concerns. A compliant, cooperative homeowner should have the opportunity to improve their home. We are not seeking special treatment, just approval for a project that has been thoroughly reviewed and found compliant by both staff and the Planning Commission. In closing, we request approval to enhance our home in full compliance with the city regulation. Over the last 18 months, we have completed every required level of city review, voluntarily redesigned major elements of the project to address privacy concerns, accepted and implemented all conditions opposed by the staff and Planning Commission, received Planning Commission approval by a 5-to-1 vote. By upholding our approval, you reaffirm our community's commitment to fairness and the integrity of the approval process for all homeowners. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there
All
other
right, Terry.
speakers?
Would you like to invite the rebuttals and then, oh, forgive me, we'll do our public speakers now.
Correct. How many speakers do we have?
2.
Okay.
Never Jurgis, forgive me if I've said that wrong. Yes. Jurgis, thank you.
Is this the appeal?
Yeah, this is the appeal.
Is this the appeal portion? I mean, the rebuttal portion?
No, this is just public comment.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't count as a rebuttal.
There's more than 2, sorry.
If I may clarify, she's the architect and she's available for questions. She just wanted to make sure that we had documented her information.
Got
Thank
it.
you.
Okay.
Then I'll call David Chura.
Mr. Mayor, council members, staff.
Just as a quick, some housekeeping, are you represented as personal opinion or as?
Yeah, it's a personal opinion, so I think as we discussed earlier, my role in the Planning Commission as the third stringer, because the chairman and vice chair couldn't be here, is probably inappropriate, and I think that's what we decided. So I'm here to speak on behalf of myself.
Okay.
And as you saw, in opposition to the staff recommendation.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, I'll start. I intend to tell you a story of neighborhood compatibility, which is the story of Rancho Palos Verdes. When I see a project like this, whose vast bulk and mass is directed to one side of the lot, I know that the neighbor is going to be severely impacted. If you can imagine looking from your lot to see a 25 by 25 foot structure just a few feet from you that towers 28 feet higher than you, you can probably say you probably wouldn't like that. However, the good news is that we have neighborhood compatibility guidelines that explicitly state that no structure shall dominate the side yard of another lot. Now, this doesn't say, and this is true regardless of what other properties might exist in the area. In fact, we frequently find the other properties used in the analysis were constructed before we had neighborhood compatibility guidelines, and one might interpret these guidelines to have been created to prevent the proliferation of that type of structure rather than condone its construction. And I promised you a story. Now, I don't have to imagine what this looks like, because a number of years ago, before I was a planning commissioner, there was a project next to my house that was 24 feet by essentially 20 feet tall, a box with a flat roof on it. And when we brought this attention to the city, there was an outstanding effort by our city manager, who was then the director at the time, and our city council to try to bring the structure into neighborhood compatibility. And that was such amazing effort, because what happened is the project was not essentially killed. and the applicant was not shamed, but they developed a method to bring this project into compatibility that shaped its design so that it was a structure we could live with and have been living with because it was constructed, as well as the neighbor achieved their objective of getting their project built. I consider this to be a neighborhood compatibility success because it took the neighborhood, it took the director, now city manager, and it took the city council to effect this. You can do this. You can shape this project into one that is compatible with this neighborhood. And I'll just repeat that it is incompatible, and that's why the application, that's why the appellant has a legitimate case, is because the structure dominates the side yard of the neighbor, and that does not depend on any structures in the area. It's stated definitely just as that. If you live in Redondo Beach, you should expect to be boxed in by your neighbors. But Rancho Palos Verdes has always had an open space community, and that doesn't just mean green fields. That means open space between our homes that gives us light and space amongst us.
All right,
That's the end of my
much.
story, the end.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Do we have any other speakers? Okay, let's start with the rebuttals then, with the appellant.
Mr. Meyer? Or
If you want to.
Parsons? Certainly. For the rebuttal.
How much time do they have on a rebuttal?
My name's Nancy Parsons. Good evening.
Hey, Nancy, can you do me a favor? Just pull the mic in just a little bit?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, gentlemen and gentlewomen. I'm Nancy Parsons, co-appellant at 7361 Berry Hill. And it's really difficult for me to be in sort of an adversarial position with my city and my community because we've lived here for 30 years. And we've been very much a part of the fabric of our community. We've donated, personally, I've donated thousands of hours of volunteer work to 3 schools. We've raised funds for schools, PEF. I've helped my elderly neighbors. So my community is very important to me. And we are not asking for anything special, just that the city uphold its codes, which are meant to protect all residents against bad and selfish building decisions in a neighborhood, which are then used to set a precedent for further harmful decisions. And precedent is very important because it's been used against us many times in this situation. And the privacy expectations that we have enjoyed for 30 years led us to create over many years a private garden sanctuary in our courtyard area where we can enjoy nature and bird watch when working from the bedrooms. This would be utterly destroyed by a maximum 29-foot high, because the pad is higher than ours, wall with windows looking down, and of course the huge deck with unobstructed views, which you saw in those photographs of the workers on the roof. They would have, that's where people would be standing, and they have unobstructed views into our bedroom and courtyard. And so you have to believe your eyes. And the Planning Commission did substantiate our privacy claims, but we don't agree with the Band-Aid of planting foliage as it creates an ongoing burden on us to make sure that it's maintained, and it still doesn't comply with the city code. And it was one commissioner that stated that he felt the foliage was a more cost-effective option for the applicants, which is not a factor they should have been considering, only the code. They even reopened the public hearing only for the applicants to speak, but not for us at our own appeal. The city planning department told us at one point that they were working with the applicants on remedies for our privacy concerns. So remedies means they knew there was a problem. And their solution of moving the windowsills to 5'1" was useless and insulting. Subsequently, city planning has done nothing but move the goalposts on privacy until the word has been rendered meaningless and nothing is private to them. But privacy is in the code. And if the city does not want to consider it, then remove it from the ordinance. But it is there now and must mandatorily and reasonably be considered. This was never a fair and unbiased process or a good faith process on the part of the planning department and was not designed to fairly represent and weigh the needs of all the residents. It was a process designed to railroad through a decision that was already made, including an attempt to change the conditions on the ground. They cut down a privacy hedge between us, and then the city came back and took pictures after the hedge was cut, and then they made the claim that our courtyard wasn't private. So, can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
I don't believe anyone in this room would find this situation that we're living under to be acceptable for themselves, including the applicants. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, next speaker.
Carol Francis, or will it be, okay. Hanny Francis?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Hanny Francis, and I'd like to clarify a few things for the record. It's been said both by the appellant and Mr. Shura that they continue to exaggerate the height of the building to 28, 29 feet, and that is not correct, and the planning department can clarify that as well. It's 21.7, so I don't know why they continue to say that. So that's one thing I would like to clarify. The other thing that I'd like to clarify is that, that from the beginning, one of their complaints about their initial letter being lost for 2 months was the fact that we took the time from the neighborhood meeting when we had the rendering that you saw on the left-hand side that my wife spoke through, that we had western-facing balconies, regular windows. All of that was addressed in the 2 months that we filed the initial filing with the planning department to address their findings. So to say that they were never consulted is sort of like, to me, is not really fair to say, because we were seeking that from the very beginning, and we got their input, and we tried to make it right from the beginning by removing the balcony, as my wife said. We removed the western-facing balcony, we removed the slider, we ended up raising the windows, and to say that 5'1" raising of the windows is not sufficient, and now it's up to 6 feet to impede on their privacy, that's just hearsay. Anyways, in addition, the privacy that they're talking about is a courtyard that is visible from a right-of-way, as Mr. Kim alluded to. So please consider that as well. Additionally, they show that we have not complied with tree trimming, and that is not also true. The reason why we did not keep up with our palm trimming is because we were told that we would have to cut it down as part of the condition of receiving our permit. So we were hoping we would get this done and cut them down and get our permit. So that's why they were not cut. When they say that we we cut the hedge to take the pictures, that is absolutely not true. The hedge is really in between our properties, but it's owned by both of us. It is on the property line. It's not all ours. Some of it is on their property. So please consider that as well. Also, when we keep saying that the plans of the roof deck show the angle of the worker on top of the building, half of his body was really inside the building, and the orientation of the picture is really taken from a very northern view versus, as we said before, the deck is facing south, and all our views that we're talking about are south and not really west. So anyways, the western view, as we said before, and they're rendering it as part of their...
Francis, can you finish that thought, please?
Yeah, that the view from the deck looks into their private courtyard, and really it overlooks the roof of their garage. Actually, it ends halfway over their garage from the second story. So again, that's some of the rebuttal points that I wanted to point out.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. Any other speakers? No? Okay, all right. Do we have council questions? No. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Jeffrey, a couple of questions. One is, I want to confirm the window treatment, whatever it's called, if it's opaque or some other term, that it is in all those windows west-facing 6 feet.
Councilman, The window sill heights have remained at 5 feet 1 inch. However, the portions of that are below 6 feet are proposed to be obscured.
Okay, below 6 feet, so it's obscured up to 6 feet.
Correct.
Okay, that's number one. Thank you.
Turn to the plans that show that.
Okay.
And just pay attention to the notation where it says the lower panes obscured to 6 feet high.
Okay, thank you. So next question is, because I can't quite make it out on the drawings, is there articulation between the first and second story? Because the original plan apparently had deck going out. Did the structure with the revision actually go out and become part of the structure and includes additional square footage? Or is there articulation on the side yard there, west facing?
Councilman, the portions of the second story addition meet the facade of the western facade of the first story resident, or the first story portion of the residence. A portion of the second story addition does cantilever over the side yard. So there's articulation in that sense, but over the side yard.
Okay, all right, thank you. Third question is, in the past, using vegetation as a privacy, I don't want to say fix for it, but an accommodation or a remedy, it seems like that would just open up, and I know you did in your presentation, that it just gets us into the city, into the business of maintaining vegetation, because we're going to get calls, nuisance calls, or other complaints. What's our track record of that? I don't recall us doing that in the past, so troubled by that.
That was a solution that the Planning Commission proposed and put as a condition in their approval. In the past, we have seen where a property owner may end up removing something, not realizing it was something that was a requirement, or may not maintain something. So now that could become a height issue, or a view issue for another property, or it could be that it's not maintained and thus doesn't thrive and provide that perceived privacy that was the intent of it. So there are different issues that may come up when you're dealing with something that's, that living product, rather than something that's more of a permanent structure that you can address. So there may be concerns with code enforcement in the future if it's not maintained. So it's just something that would have to be tracked.
Okay, because we're not talking about a hedge here. We're talking about trying to keep something above 15 feet, but not above 21 feet. We got a window we're going to have to maintain, otherwise we're going to hear about it, and we will hear about it. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Last point, and I wasn't able to get to where the view was taken from for the 4 palm trees, the queen palms, but I got right next to it. And I looked there, and I saw the orientation, and that's just not the orientation of where people look. I mean, yes, it is over the ocean, but do we have a slide that shows the staff report where we get a good look from wherever you took that, did that, or whoever did the foliage assessment?
One moment, I'll bring that right up.
Sure. Thank you. There we go. Right, that's it. Okay, thank you. I read the recommendation, and it seemed to me that I don't agree with, if we're going to trim down those palms, they're going to either destroy the palms or they're not going to look right. It would seem that we would do the exact opposite. We trim them, and I know that there's been trimmed since this picture was taken, went by there, that we want those to grow through as fast as possible. And not all trees are created equal. If you look at some of the first, I'm just going to go left to right because I don't know the numbering, but if you go left to right and you take a look at the first two trees, there's a bit of a cluster of trees, of different types of trees there. So if you remove those trees, you're not going to improve view, and they're really, really close to growing through the view frame anyway. They're above the horizon line. On the right side, you have the same situation where the fronds are cut now, and they have less of a view impact there. And I don't know the growth rates for queen palms on a yearly basis, if it's a couple of feet. They're going to grow through this. And so I'm struggling with why we're cutting down these trees. Maybe you can make the case on the fourth tree, because that is more of it's a lower tree, it's a younger tree, and it's more in an open area to remove that one. But for the first two, and then probably the third, you're not really, I don't see the significant view impact. It's just my interpretation. And if that's in conflict with the assessment by the team that does that, we're just going to disagree on that. So that's where I'm coming down. I don't understand the condition 34 and condition 36, and I think condition 35 has been satisfied. So I'll let other people ask questions if they do before I weigh in on a conclusion for discussion. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Bradley, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. I have a couple questions for applicants. This question is, I believe, Mr. Meyer, you mentioned that there were some compromises that you guys put forward and that was never talked about. Is that accurate?
We sent a letter based on the commission's resolution. We sent a letter that's basically what we thought would be compromises to both the coordination between the commission's ruling, their approval with conditions on the windows and also on the trees. We were pretty adamant against that for the same reason of maintenance. It becomes somebody else's problem. Plus, they're cypress trees. They're pretty flammable.
When in the process was the compromise sent over to them?
I'm sorry?
When in the process of, basically this is ongoing for almost 2 years now, when in the process was this, your compromise sent over to them?
They were sent over right after the commission meeting.
Right after the commission, so pretty
January
recently.
27th. I think it was February 2nd. We sent that letter.
And was there any budge on that? There's
Everybody
nothing?
was copied. It's included in the.
No, as in, do you guys have an actual conversation with your neighbors about it, or no? It's
No.
just through mail?
No, just the mail to the planning commission and the commissioners.
Thank you, I appreciate
You're
that. Jeffrey, just if you can go back to some of these slides, I went out to the property just so you guys know. For infringement of privacy, I know there was a couple, so I think it's a view from 7355 into the courtyard. Because I know infringement of privacy was mentioned a bunch of times. Go back to, yeah, that one. Now, this is taken at the property line, correct? Jeffrey?
This was taken approximately near the property line.
Okay, and it's from 7355 into 7361?
Correct.
Right? Now, on the left of this picture, can you see that courtyard from the street?
According to staff's analysis and having done site visits to the area, there are some viewing angles into that courtyard from the street. Although it may not be the entirety of that courtyard, there are certain angles into the bedroom windows and courtyard area.
Okay, so there's no fence or anything that blocks from the street or privacy hedges or anything of that sort, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, that's all the questions I have. You guys have any questions? Councilmember Ferraro?
I don't.
Lewis? All right. Any other questions from applicant? Nothing? Okay, then I'll declare this hearing closed, and we'll move on to council deliberation. Mayor Pro Tem, you want to start us off? Sure. Please.
Okay. I pointed out my concerns. I don't think that condition 34 with the palm trees serves a purpose at all. I think those palm trees are going to grow through in a couple of years if they're kept trimmed. I don't know if the applicant or the applicant, the appellant is concerned about that, or if they just said, okay, anything to get the approval, if they like their trees, if they don't care that those trees are removed, remove them. I don't want to be the one that gets in the way of something you want to do. But I don't see the purpose. I don't think it obstructs a view. The second is the 3 cypress trees. I don't think we can maintain that. I don't want to get into the business, the nuisance calls, and get the city into responding to 15 to 21 feet height management of vegetation to achieve privacy. I think that's way beyond our bounds in this case. Maybe with a hedge, it's something on the ground that we can manage, and it's an easy measurement. That's something that's different, but it's just a condition. I don't think it's going to serve a purpose here. That I don't think it's going to make anybody happy either. So keep the city out of that business.
Question just on that point. It's not the city's responsibility to maintain, it's the applicant's responsibility to maintain those hedges. Right. So how is it a burden on the city? I don't understand how we're in that business.
When it's not fulfilled.
Yeah, when it comes back to us.
Well, they
When
have
it comes
to
back to
fulfill
us,
it. They have
and
to
it becomes a
fulfill it or they're
nuisance
cited.
issue and an enforcement issue on our part.
Correct, code enforcement.
Yeah, but it's black and white. You go, it's either exceeding height or it's below height, right? I mean,
It is.
I don't, okay. Well,
No, well, so and it makes sense. It's just in the past, we've stayed away from those, I believe, because of that management of dealing with that. So do we intentionally get into that, put ourselves as a city in that position? Does it work? Sometimes. Sometimes it's enforceable and it works, but if it's more of that hedge, just make it 8 feet and maintain it. And once a year, you have to come in and you have to maintain that at 8 feet. But if you have a range here, and you're pretty high up in the air to maintain those, and say a tree dies, that type of thing. It's just more, it's more subjective for that.
I'll let you continue.
Okay, all right, so that in that case, the 2 points of the appeal is the neighbor compatibility and the privacy. I don't see that infringement in this situation. You have view angles where you can see between the 2 structures, the garage and the house. There may be a little bit, as Jeffrey said, that's obstructed. In terms of neighbor compatibility, I'm pretty comfortable that the pattern that may exist in this case has certainly not been interpretation in other situations where we worry about the order of second stories may be built. And every neighborhood has their character of their own. So that would be really a difficult thing to say we're breaking a pattern, because these neighborhoods evolve at their own pace, in their own time, and with their own character. So unless staff wants to take me on that one and say we have examples that where we have enforced that, I don't recall ever doing that. So based on that, I'd like to revise whatever one the palm tree is, and just make the statement to maintain the other parts of the foliage that are under 16 feet and exclude those 4 queen palms.
Mayor Pro Tem, are you suggesting to delete on condition 34 the indentation that says the 4 queen palm trees located in the south corner? You want that to be deleted?
I think they can stay, yeah, delete that. But it's still, the other point is valid, to not have other growth above 16 feet. I believe that's the rest of that condition, correct?
Yes.
Well, you'd have to amend the first sentence. You just say, pursuant to the municipal code section, the owner of the property is responsible for maintaining. Everything else between that would have to be deleted.
Yeah. and just exclude those. And then 36, my own opinion on that would be to not make that as a requirement for privacy. I don't think that's effective. People may have another opinion on that.
I thought that was for the people next door, to give them some privacy.
Yeah, I don't think that's effective, and I don't think we
He's
can
saying it's
enforce
not,
it.
he's saying he doesn't think it's going to be effective.
Oh,
by
so
adding
just
the
take it
foliage.
out?
Correct.
That's what I propose. So there'd be two adjustments, the one with a modification, the one with a removal, and to then.
So it'd be a motion to
Resolution.
adopt the resolution as amended.
As amended,
amended.
but yeah, when we get there.
We're still deliberating.
Councilmember Lewis, are you done, Mayor Pro Tem?
I'm done, thank you.
Councilmember
Yeah,
Lewis.
so I'm going to ask Counselor to keep me on the straight and narrow here, but as I look at this, like, I recognize everybody here has got a lot invested. The appellants paid good money here to have this hearing. They should get a fair hearing. The applicants have invested a lot in revisions and architecture fees to keep adjusting to the requirements that are imposed on us. So everybody's got a lot invested here, and it should be a good listen from all of us and a good decision. So when I think about this, for me, the issue is really what the incremental difference is from the granting of the variance. I was kind of getting at that question before, but we're not saying they don't have a right to add a second story. They clearly do. I mean, our bias is towards property rights, right? There's a second story, there's multiple second stories on the street. So the question is the granting of this variance of 5 feet causing additional incremental damage to the appellants? And to me, that's the question. And I heard what Mr. Chura said, but I also don't think that I would ever think that we would make amendments to code that would result in a taking of property. And if the intention of that code were to limit second stories after a number were already built, that would be an unfair taking. So we would never do that in this city unless the environmental circumstances dramatically and drastically changed. So I don't think that's the case. I think the reality is that Redondo Beach has more ranches becoming 2 stories because they're just closer to the heart of the city, and that trend is moving outward as the ratio of land price to building cost continues to increase in California, every year. So it just makes the development of properties vertically economically justifiable. So when I look at this, I haven't seen it yet. I'm open to being persuaded, but I mean, I look at these guys standing here. If their heads were here, they'd still have the same sight line, and it would be fully comporting with the codes. So I have not seen yet how this variance is burdening the appellants. I think a number of these measures have been gone through extensively, gone through these measures, and a lot of mitigations have been made. So I'm not seeing it yet. And then for the record, I support both of your ideas, Steve, on 34 and 36. So that's my viewpoint now, but I want to hear what everybody has to say.
Okay. Councilmember Ferraro.
As I see it, the people who own the property have done an extraordinary amount of work to try and make their addition acceptable to the people next to them. And it seems like no matter what they did, there's still complaints that it doesn't work. I think really what you're trying to say is that you don't want them to do anything. But they have bent over backwards to try and get something acceptable in terms, they redid that second story so that there are windows that don't, that let in light but don't impinge on the house next door. And so I think as we see this project now, along with the minor revision that we're talking about, it should go through because they've done everything they could to make it acceptable to the people next door. And maybe in the end, it won't be nearly as bad as they're making it out, as you're making it out to be, so.
I might add one rhetorical question, then I'll let the mayor take over, is that if I were
If
just...
you thought I was finished.
You sounded like you were. Are you not done?
No, go ahead.
No, please finish.
Councilmember Ferraro, if you're not done, please finish.
I just wanted to say that it's hard when it's neighbors versus neighbors. And I understand both sides. But the people that have decided to add on have done everything they could to cover windows. I mean, by cover, I mean make them opaque in some ways, to get it to a different angle so that they can have the room but not impinge on the views of the people next door. And I know that they obviously don't want to look down and see what neighbors are doing anyway. But I think this is a good compromise because of the changes that they've made. And I'm in support of it with the minor changes that we were talking about earlier.
Councilmember Lewis.
Now,
Real quick, thank you. I would just ask this rhetorical question, right? Because I just imagine the roles reversed. Like, what if the appellants were developing their property and the applicants were appealing, right? The logic that I'm seeing being presented from the appellants would ban them from developing their own property, because if they put any second-story deck, they'd have a sight line somewhere. So, I mean, is that really the case, that we're really just saying no second-story decks are allowed? And would the appellants really claim that they have no right to develop their own property by their own logic? I don't know, it's just a rhetorical question.
Councilmember Bradley?
Thank you, Mayor Sale. Yeah, when I went out there, and I've done several of these as my time on the Planning Commission, like Mayor Pro Tem has done, I thought this was a relatively modest second-story addition. This is certainly not to the dramatic out-of-neighborhood compatibility that we have seen with some developments, where a structure is being doubled in size to being one of the, or if not the biggest property in the neighborhood. Obviously not conforming to the rest of the neighborhood character. When I looked at the polls on this, the only thing that I saw that was, I thought, different than the rest of the neighborhood is the cupola, which I think was put in one of the revisions. I'm not sure why the cupola was put in as an architectural detail after one of the revisions, but that does have has the highest point now of the project, though it still is relatively modest as a increase to size, as well as just building over the current structure with a sloped roof. So as I think one of the applicants said, it really isn't 28, 29 feet. It's much more modest than that. Everything being equal, I do understand the appellant's point. Everybody wants to limit the drastic expansion of a property next to it. I think that this is a relatively modest expansion. And it is compatible with the neighborhood. I think the applicant has done what I think is a good job of trying to mitigate this. So I can't, in good conscience, say that the applicant should not be able to use their property in the way that they see fitting because I think it does apply with our neighborhood compatibility standards, our height variation standards, and I think the level of privacy is still the same. So I would support the applicant with the provisos that Mayor Pro Tem put in there. I do believe that foliage as part of a condition of approval, like Mayor Pro Tem said, is something that will haunt us for years as the definition of that foliage comes into question, whether it's alive, is it dead, is it healthy, is it too tall, is it too short? It's something that will change year over year and be a point of contention in the future. If we want to have any type of conditions for some type of barrier, those need to be physical barriers, fences, something like that, that will be very easy to determine if they're meeting or not meeting the intent. That's all.
Okay,
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Or thank you, Mayor Seo. Sorry.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now, for the parties that are here, I know it's late, and, you know, I think this is the worst part of our job, trying to quell differences between neighbors and whatnot, and I think, you know, making these decisions is not easy for us. So we weigh, you know, a lot of this stuff with the seriousness it deserves, and I know one of the questions I asked was about compromise, because if those issues and those compromises were had, then we wouldn't be here. So I understand the appellant's viewpoint in regards to their privacy, because I understand everybody has a castle that they want to be private, and I understand that. But at the same time, you know, people do have property rights that they're allowed to develop. Now, I echo what my fellow council members have stated, and I think the modifications and the accommodations that the applicant has done is meaningful in my opinion. And I don't think it strays away from neighborhood compatibility given the neighborhood itself. And I think the staff did a good job of laying out all the different view angles and whatnot. But one thing that I wanted to address was the infringement on privacy. Now, I've been out to the property, and for me, the expectation of privacy is big, and I understand it because everybody wants it. But if you can see your house and the cottage, and you know you can see the courtyard from the street, to me, it doesn't hold water. I understand that folks want to have their privacy when it comes to their house, when it comes to their windows and things like that. But when it's open, from the street and you can see it, it kind of doesn't. It just doesn't hold weight for me. I understand. I know you have your hand up, but yeah, for me, I understand it is what I'm saying. Yeah.
No.
No, it's over, sorry.
The public
And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you and your opinion and whatnot, but for me, the privacy angle for me just doesn't hold water. And, you know, Councilmember Lewis said the same way. If you were to go up and people were looking into your window, then, you know, would you have the same complaint? Would you go up, right? And I don't know, it was rhetorical, but it's a good point to be made. So for me, as of right now, I'm favoring the applicants in regards to the decision. So at this point, I would ask for, no, it is the applicant. So with the resolution on the table, I'll entertain a motion with the provisions that the Mayor Pro Tem put forward.
So just to be clear, members of the City Council, it would be a motion to approve the resolution that staff has recommended with a change to condition 34 to read as follows, quote, "The owner of the property is responsible for maintaining in perpetuity all foliage on the property which exceeds 16 feet in height, excepting only the 4 queen palms, as measured from the base of the tree, or which exceeds the lowest adjacent ridge line of the primary structure, whichever is lower, so as not to significantly impair the view from surrounding properties. All other text in condition 34 would be deleted, and the entirety of condition 35 would be deleted."
36.
36.
I'm sorry, my bad.
36.
Well,
We need a motion.
thank you. I'll make that motion because that was so articulate.
And I'll second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Ferraro,
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis,
Yes.
Councilmember Bradley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peristam,
Yes.
Mayor Seo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right.
Yeah.
Move on to, oh, forgive me, Mayor, did you want to go back to item letter H? We've not been able to contact the speaker after repeated attempts.
Yeah, let's go back to H and just knock that out real quick.
I move approval of item H.
Can I get a second,
on the
please?
agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Thank you. Councilmember Ferraro,
Yes.
Councilmember Bradley,
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peristam,
Yes.
Mayor Seo.
Yes.
Motion passes. With that, we can move to item number 2. Forgive me. Consider recovering nuisance abatement costs on the property located at 2064 Gallerita Drive. Notice of the public hearing was duly published, and I have 0 requests to speak.
All right, thank you very much. I'll declare this public hearing open. Can I get a quick staff report, please?
Yes, we have Code Enforcement Officer Brittany Pena is going to provide the presentation.
Hi, Brittany.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. For our next item, I will be presenting the nuisance abatement cost recovery for property 2064 Gallerita Drive. This slide provides a little bit of background regarding the property. The property is located at the end of a cul-de-sac on Gallerita Drive. This property consists of a house, garage, trees, and large amount of landscape throughout the parcel. April 2022, the city's Code Enforcement Division notified the property owner of code violations on the subject property related to unpermitted construction, inoperable vehicles, and property maintenance. Between September 2022 to September 2024, the extended enforcement activity was a reflection of the Code Enforcement Division's continued efforts to work collectively with the property owner to gain voluntary compliance. February 2024, a new code enforcement officer was reassigned to this code case, and due to inactivity on the part of the property owner, a new notice of violation was issued in March 2024 to restart the due process for the property owner. March 2025, after many attempts of working with the property owner, the code enforcement case was referred to the city attorney's office to assist with further enforcement. Later in 2025, staff conducted an on-site inspection and determined the property had shown no progress. January 2026, an abatement warrant was obtained, and the abatement was completed in coordination with the city's contractor, Ocean Blue, and the LOMITA sheriffs, which included the removal of the trash, debris, equipment, and an inoperable vehicle. April 2026, the property owner was duly notified via certified mail of the city's nuisance abatement costs, totaling $22,249.65, and a meeting notice was published to the Peninsula News. This slide shows 2 site photos. The image on the left was taken on April 1st, 2022. The image on the right was taken on September 22nd, 2025. These images show the violations and nuisance of the property. This next slide shows 2 post-abatement photos of the site. The image on the left was taken on January 14th, 2026. The image on the right was taken on May 12th, 2026. These images show the site after the abatement was conducted. This next slide shows the recommendations. Staff recommends the City Council, 1, adopt the resolution being presented tonight, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Rancho Palos Verdes confirming the report of nuisance abatement costs and authorizing a special assessment in the form of a lien in the amount of $22,249.65 to recover abatement costs on the property located at 2064 Gallerita Drive. 2, direct staff to submit to the Los Angeles County Auditor Controller for the collection in the next applicable tax roll year to the confirmed abatement costs in the amount of $22,249.65 for the property located at 2064 Gallerita Drive. And 3, direct the city attorney and the finance director to prepare and cause to be recorded in the Office of the Los Angeles County Recorder appropriate notices of liens, which document the amount of nuisance abatement costs assessed for the property located at 2064 Gallerita. This concludes my presentation for tonight.
Thank you, Brittany. Any questions of staff?
No.
No. Councilmember Bradley?
None.
Thank you. Any public testimony or speakers? Madam Clerk?
I don't know if the property owner is here. Would staff be able to? Okay, none.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to go with staff recommendation.
Hold on, let me close the hearing real quick. I'll declare the hearing closed. And can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to go with staff recommendation.
Second.
Second. Thank you. Roll call.
Councilmember Bradley?
Yes.
Councilmember Ferraro?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peristam?
Yes.
Mayor Seo?
Yes.
Motion passes. With that, we can move to item number 3. Consider adopting an updated master schedule of fees and fully burdened hourly rate schedule for city services for fiscal year 2026-27. Notice of the public hearing was duly published, and I do not have any requests to speak.
Thank you. I'll declare this public hearing open. Quick staff report, please.
Good evening, Mayor Seo. Senior Analyst James O'Neill will do the presentation tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, good evening.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of council. Tonight before you, as was mentioned, will be a review of the master fee schedule and fully burdened hourly rate for 26-27. This is representative of about 8% of the overall budget assumptions going forward. As you can see here, we've got the past 5 years worth of revenue and budget assumptions for 25-26 and the budget assumption moving forward. As a bit of history, this is all based off of a fee study that was done in 2019, adopted as a resolution in 2021, and the fees remain unchanged for about 3 years. However, the fully burdened hourly rate schedule was increased by the CPI each of those years. And last year, for the first time, the fees were increased by CPI of March, and this is based off of the direction from the adoption of the fee study back in 2021. So what is proposed for tonight, outlined in the staff report, is increasing the majority of the fees by the 3.4% CPIU for March of 2026. There are a few exceptions, being the copy fees, which are governed by government code, parking lot fees for Abalone Cove, and a couple of revised fees that are outlined for Public Works Department, which would include a dumpster fee recalculated, traffic control inspection fees, haul route, and wide load permit fees. We've added, or clarified rather, by adding the drainage review fees. The permit packets that are outlined in the staff report have been outlined, as well as a combination permit fee. And then the fully burdened hourly rate schedule has been recalculated based off of 26-27 salary and benefit data to make sure that that is more accurate. And then also we have reformatted the fee schedule to make it easier to read, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, and better understanding. Ultimately, the recommendation results in a estimated revenue of about $121,000, which is about 2.6% of the budget assumption. This really is about cost recovery, more so than it is raising revenue. This is to make sure that we are not subsidizing those costs of providing those services when requested by applicants. A couple of examples. You can see here where rates have been raised, but as a standard example of a 1,000 square foot addition, it's going from 66 cents per square foot to 68, so ultimately would result in an additional $20 under the new fee schedule. For a driveway approach, where it was calculated based off of the encroachment permit and other, plan check and such, that has been simplified to be simply from, would be calculated with 2 hours of inspection to a proposed fee of $547, a difference of $75 as a reduction based off of that recalculation. and we have the recommendation that is before you in the staff report.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions of staff?
No.
Councilmember Bradley?
No questions.
Thank you very much. Any speakers? Thank you. I'll declare the hearing closed. Deliberation? Anything?
I'll move the staff recommendation.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Ferraro,
Yes.
Councilmember Lewis,
Yes.
Councilman Bradley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peristam,
Yes.
Mayor Seo.
Yes.
Motion passes. With that, we can move to the much-anticipated item 4, consider appointing members to fill vacancies on the city's advisory committees and the Planning Commission. Earlier this evening, I did distribute ballots for you, and I can collect them if you'd like to begin with the Planning Commission.
Start with the Planning Commission, please.
Why don't we do them one at a time?
We'll start with the ballots for the Planning Commission.
To vote 3 applicants, just so you guys know.
Ara,
It says it at the
You-
top.
Correct.
told me there's one person listed here who's not eligible as a non-resident.
Greg Barber.
And the name was removed from the ballot.
It shouldn't be on the ballot.
Okay, I just have the old one from last week, so are there any other changes that I should know?
No.
Thank you.
Send mine over.
Give me 1 second. We fill in one of this one. I'm just checking it.
Just check. Jiminy Christmas. If you can't figure out how to mark it. You need the school teacher to tell you how to mark your ballot.
Terry, Madam Clerk, how we doing, Councilmember? How we doing his votes?
Do you have David's?
Okay.
There's a dinging going on around here, and we can't figure out where it's coming from.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's what it was your computer warning that you was at the time. Okay, now I know. Now I'm not hearing things.
Got so many.
Planning Commission first.
Are you going to announce the votes?
Yes, I'm going to read them into the record and then tally them. After this, we could do CCAC,
What?
CCAC.
the
Civic Center
CCAC if you'd
Advisory
like.
Committee.
What did she say?
Dave, did you hear that?
No, what's
Civic-
next?
Civic Center Advisory Committee is going to be
Oh,
next.
I was ready to do emergency preparedness.
No, me too.
Oh, either way is fine, and I'll just start tallying.
Let's do EPC next.
Okay, emergency preparedness.
Do you want to not fill out all of them because we'll be removing some of the names based on who you're,
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, yeah,
People have multiple choices and they may drop
if
B.
they drop from one, it doesn't mean they're not eligible for
Okay,
the next one.
let's boogie.
Don't fill out the ballots.
Yeah, wait, let's wait.
One at a time, because someone who may be
Disappear from consideration, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
there's no conflict, yeah.
Do you know the three who are on emergency preparedness now? Campbell. Diane. Emergency preparedness and, Wooder. 1, 2, 3, 4. These four are three are incumbents. Campbell.
I'm at City Hall right now. We're doing voting.
Mayor Sale, are we doing APC or are we waiting for?
We're waiting for the tally real quick.
Okay, for planning.
So for Planning Commission, Councilman Bradley voted Mark Crossman, Philip DeSouza, and Claire Leon.
Say again.
For Planning, Councilman Bradley voted Crossman, DeSouza, Leon. Councilwoman Ferraro voted Crossman, DeSouza, and Funicello. Councilman Lewis voted Crossman, DeSouza, and Leon. Mayor Pro Tem Peristan voted Crossman, DeSouza, and Violeta Malaplaza. Forgive me, I'm butchering the name. Mayor Seo voted Crossman, DeSouza, and Malaplaza. So we have two planning commissioners at 5 votes each, Mark Crossman and Philip DeSouza. Then we had two applicants with 2 votes each, Claire Leon and Violeta Malaplaza. So do we want to take those 2 names and have one more vote?
Yeah.
Okay,
Just those two?
just those 2. And we'll take, I can give you extra ballots.
We picked these two.
We're just voting in between, because we only have 3 spots, so the top 2 is, so they'll,
Got 2 votes each, so we're only
so,
gonna,
okay.
just give them both between us. See?
Or,
Yeah.
or do, it's probably easier to circle.
Are you
these
gonna
2.
give us another?
I'm gonna give you a fresh ballot for just the 2 that you're voting, because they're close to each other. So I was just gonna circle.
And who are those 2?
Claire
Pardon?
Leon, and Violeta Malaplaza.
Who?
I'll point it out to you when you get it. Thank you.
Between these 2.
Okay.
Councilmember Bradley, do you understand that you're voting between just 2?
He got the directive
I
and he
do,
sent.
and I've done it. I've complied with direction.
Thank
For
you.
once.
He's already done.
Dave, I'm trying to hurry this along for your sake right now. I know it's
Thank you.
12:30 almost there. The dedication.
Oh, yeah.
And
Thank you.
Malola, can't pronounce that. Yeah. Okay. You want to send that around?
Thank you. Councilman Bradley voted Claire Leon. Councilwoman Ferraro, forgive me, voted Violeta Malolipsa. Councilman Lewis voted Claire Leon. Mayor Pro Tem Peristam voted Violeta Malolipsa. Mayor Seo voted Violeta Malolipsa. So your clear winner at 3 votes is Violeta Malolipsa, and I'll learn how to say her name by then.
Okay.
So now we can move
We're doing
on.
emergency preparedness.
EPC?
Yeah.
Madam Clerk, you want to do EPC?
Sure.
That's what she said.
I think they're following the order in
I
the
was
booklet.
going to go in the order on the staff report, but that's okay.
Oh,
Report with the staff report, but no, it's totally fine.
I think they're following the binder.
EPC it is. Do you
Oops, sorry.
want to strike out, oh, you're ready.
You do this.
Oh, I got it. Oh, I can do it.
No, we're doing emergency preparedness committee. EPC, folks.
EPC. EPC.
The Emergency Preparedness Committee.
That is correct.
Correct.
How many?
You have 5.
5 altogether?
Yes.
I've got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And is one of those a short?
No, that's on the iMac.
Okay. George? Now, what's the next one we're gonna do? What?
First, we'll do this one in case we have to do another round and remove
No,
some
but
names.
what's the next one we're going to do?
Civic Center's easy. Do Civic Center. I think Civic Center's an easy enough. Maybe.
We'll have Madam Clerk decide.
Yes.
The next one, according to your book, is the FAC.
We skipped one.
Correct.
No, we didn't.
No. If we're going through our book, then FAC is next, but
Yeah,
we'll
like
let
there's
the,
order
we'll let
in
the, we'll let Madam Clerk do it because she
Yeah.
has it organized. I don't want to mess her up.
So what are we doing?
She's going to give us instructions. Let's just wait.
So I have to wait for instructions?
Yes, ma'am.
You all are so difficult. Traffic. Well, I know who I want for traffic. John Ty. Huh? No, why? Am I giving him a hard time?
Okay. For the Emergency Preparedness Committee, Councilman Bradley voted Chang, which was a name that he pulled from the Planning Commission initial ballot, Campbell, Peterson, Robinson, and Van Been. Councilwoman Ferraro voted Campbell, Peterson, Radke, Robinson, Van Been. Councilman Lewis voted Campbell, Lee, Peterson, Robinson, and Van Been. Mayor Pro Tem Peristam voted Campbell, Lee, Peterson, Robinson, and Van Been. Mayor Seo voted Campbell, Lee, Peterson, Robinson, and Van Been. So your top 5 vote getters, which also included, which are all a majority of the council, are 5 for Mr. Campbell, 3 for Ms. Lee, 5 for Elizabeth Peterson, 5 for Diane Robinson, and 5 for Walter Van Been. So your 5 committee members are Don Campbell, Lee, Peterson, Radke, Robinson, and Van Been. So we're done with the EPC. Because you needed 5 spots and you had enough votes for all of them. Next, we can do the CCAC if you'd like. Civic Center Advisory Committee.
What about the fact?
We can do that after, if that's all right, Councilman Bradley.
I'm sorry, okay.
Or is that what you
Dave, you're
sent?
messing up the rotation right now.
Well, I'm just going down my notes, and this was the notes that was in our book, so.
I'm so sorry.
So, Civic Center?
Yes.
Madam Clerk, can you just repeat again the ones that we just picked? I had Van Been, Robinson,
Campbell,
Lee,
Peterson, and Lee.
Campbell, Peterson. Okay, thank you.
We're doing Civic Center, and we need 3.
Correct.
For the Civic Center Advisory Committee, Councilman Bradley voted Eric Chang, Paul Close, Greg O'Brien. Councilwoman Ferraro voted Golnar Borage, Paul Close, O'Brien. Councilman Lewis voted Golnar Borage, Close, O'Brien. Mayor Pro Tem Peristam, Borage, Close, O'Brien. Mayor Seo, Borage, Close, and O'Brien. So your top 3 vote getters are Golnar Borage, Paul Close, and O'Brien, and we needed 3 spots, and those are your new 3 people. Now we can do FAC. Please. For the FAC, you need 3. Awesome. For the Finance Advisory Committee, Councilman Bradley voted Colville, Jung, and Leon. Councilwoman Ferraro voted Colville, Jung, and Radke. Councilman Lewis voted Colville, Jung, and Radke. Mayor Pro Tem Peristam voted Colville, Jung, and Radke. Mayor Seo voted Colville, Jung, and Radke. Your top three vote getters are Emily Colville, Jonathan Jung, and Totran Radke. So we're done with finance, and now we can move on to our Traffic Safety Committee. Or- Thank you. Awesome. Oh. TYE. Oh, got it. Oh. Tie and chain. And so we've got 4, 5. Okay. Councilman Bradley for the Traffic Safety Committee voted Chang and Tai. Councilwoman Ferraro voted Howland and Tai. Councilman Lewis voted Howland and Tai. Mayor Pro Tem Peristam voted Howland and Tai. Mayor Seo also voted Howland and Tai. Your top two vote getters, John Howland and John Tai, for the Traffic Safety Committee. With that, we can move to our Civic Center Advisory Committee. For this committee, or forgive me, the IMAC, we will have a total of 5 members that need to be added, noting that one applicant asked for the unexpired vacancy, which is the shorter vacancy. Yes.
Oh, shoot. Terry.
Jerry.
Yes. So on the ballot we just submitted,
Claire Leon isn't on the
Leon's name is
ballot.
not on the ballot.
For Claire Leon, you can always move people. Remember, it's always at your discretion. So Councilman Bradley used his discretion and was adding different names where he thought someone might be a better fit.
Okay, so they can add the
Oh,
name.
yeah.
Okay.
It's at the council member's discretion.
Yeah, so you
Right,
can
these
add-
were people that I
Always.
thought were really good in the interviews, so I thought that they had expressed other interests, so I was adding people that I thought were really good, so.
Well, I guess that's what I was.
You want your, okay.
I didn't understand.
Yeah, see, she should have her name on here. Why didn't she have her name on here?
So during the interview process, and also when we accept applications, there's also the sort of the caveat on there, and it's actually written on the application that it's of course up to the council's discretion with all your experience that maybe you would find a committee that they're better suited for.
Okay, I would just want to know, if somebody said I absolutely have no interest in that or I won't do it, then they shouldn't be voted for it, but if that's not the case.
For some reason, I thought she'd be good.
Add her name.
To get my stuff home.
Mayor Pro Tem has one.
Okay. Sure you want to get in the truck?
Well, I've ridden in it before.
You have many times. Yeah.
But I don't know what I'd do with my own car.
Can't help you on that.
Or would drive it home.
You tow it.
And then have Charlie drive you home. He doesn't. Yeah, he wouldn't want to do that. Not unless it's some good reason. And I wouldn't be the good reason. You know, oh, no, it's not this meeting, but it's the next meeting. I'm going to have an announcement. 50 years of marriage.
Way to go. Oh,
I know.
That's
It's
it?
crazy.
That's it?
That's all? You haven't gotten close.
I'm at 13.
13. Going on 25. You're a newlywed.
Compared to 50, yeah.
But you already have kids, so that'll keep you together. They're glue.
It's pretty awesome. Can't
Besides, if you pick somebody good,
Yeah, she got it. I got the better deal. I got the better deal.
I think I got it pretty good to go. Some days, most days. I'm gonna have them carry up the stuff. Will you send us a list of the people that you selected?
Yes.
Maybe sometime this week or something. You want a copy?
Did you want a copy of your ballots tomorrow? You wanted, or a new roster? Did you want a copy of your ballots tomorrow?
I don't.
Or you mean the roster? I'll send you, I can send you a new roster with all of.
That were selected.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. For IMAC, Councilman Bradley voted Chang, Funicello, Haig, Leon, and Shaw. Councilwoman Ferraro voted Haig, La Navarra, Leon, Murphy, and Shaw. Councilman Lewis voted Funicello, Haig, La Navarra, Leon, and Shaw. Mayor Pro Tem Peristam voted Haig, Hess, La Navarra, Murphy, and Shaw. Mayor Seo voted Haig, Hess, La Navarra, Murphy, and Shaw. Your top vote getters are 5 for Mr. Haig, 4 for La Navarra, 3 for Leon, 3 for Murphy, and 5 for Peter Shaw. So we will ensure that Mr. Shaw is given the unexpired vacancy of Mr. Grillo's term, and the rest will have the regular four-year term.
Okay. All right.
That concludes item 4, Mayor. So we can move on to future agenda items.
Thank you. Any future agenda items?
Pass.
Okay.
I have a future agenda item, which is going to occur in about 30 seconds, which is retirement. So I will see you all back in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks,
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Travel safe.
Love you.
Thanks.
Any next item on city council oral reports? None? Okay, I will adjourn this meeting at 9:50 PM.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.